On August 5th, 2025, President Donald Trump threatened to federalize Washington, D.C., citing out-of-control crime after a former Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE staffer, Edward Coristine, was violently attacked in an attempted carjacking. The threat, posted on Truth Social and reiterated in statements, aims to repeal the 1973 Home Rule Act, which grants D.C. limited self-governance. Hi everyone, I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for joining me. Today is Thursday, August 7th, 2025, and here I have an image of crime incidents for 2025 here in the Washington State or Washington D.C. area. Here you can see the White House grounds. All the little blue dots are crimes. We got the university over here. Let me bring this around. You can see more, but holy cow, we got the National Zoo. Doing a closer look at the map, you can see where police presence probably are more so, mostly for tourist areas. Yeah, we got the National Wall, the White House grounds, East Pomiac River Park, going around this area. You know, the only other state that has a higher rate of violence than the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., is New Mexico. New Mexico is number one in crime. Maybe he should send National Guard troops to New Mexico. New Mexico's location along the United States-Mexico border and major interstate highways makes it a drug trafficking corridor. Communities along these corridors tend to have higher crime rates than other remote areas. I suppose this recent crime Trump took more personally. A 19-year-old former DOGE staffer, Edward, as they call him, nicknamed Big Balls, Coristine, was physically assaulted between 3:01 and 4:20 a.m. in the morning on Sunday, August 3rd. According to a report from D.C. Metropolitan Police Department, the incident began when around 10 youth surrounded the car and made a comment about taking the vehicle. So it was probably an attempted carjacking. Two of the suspects have been arrested. One escaped with a black iPhone 16. Edward was with Emily Bryant, who Coristine pushed into his car before the attackers assaulted him. Bryant is Coristine's significant other and is linked to the Federal Trade Commission, the General Service Administration, and Executive Office of the President. Coristine is no longer working for DOGE. He is still affiliated with the government as an employee of the Social Security Administration and is relevant on Trump's Truth Social account. Here's what Trump posted on his Truth account. Crime in D.C. is totally out of control. Local youth and gang members, some only 14, 15, and 16 years old, are randomly attacking, mugging, maiming, and shooting innocent citizens at the same time, knowing that they will get almost immediately released. They are not afraid of law enforcement because they know nothing ever happens to them. But it's going to happen now. The law in D.C. must be changed to prosecute these minors as adults and lock them up for a long time, starting at age 14. The most recent victim was beaten mercilessly by local thugs. Washington, D.C. must be safe, clean, and beautiful for all Americans, and importantly for the world to see. If D.C. doesn't get its act together, and quickly, we will have no choice but to take federal control of the city and run this city how it should be run, and put criminals on notice that they are not going to get away with it anymore. Perhaps it should have been done a long time ago. Then this incredible young man and so many others would not have had to go through the horrors of violent crime. If this continues, I am going to exert my power and federalize this city and make America great again. And they got an image of his injuries. Yeah, just terrible. But like I said, New Mexico is actually worse than D.C. To do this, Trump would have to repeal the Home Rule Act of 1973. That would need the approval of the House and the Senate. Supposedly, the latest figures from the Metropolitan Police Department, violent crimes overall have declined 26% relative to this time last year. They claim that robberies are down 29% and assaults with deadly weapons are down 20%. Sexual abuse and rape supposedly is down by 48%. Well, I don't believe that. They also say that murders are down 12%. In my opinion, they probably do a lot of catch and release. The District of Columbia's mayor, Muriel Bowser, who is a Democrat and is considered a Trump foe even during his first term. This was made very clearly when in 2020 she okayed the renaming of one of the streets by the White House to Black Lives Matter Plaza. That was following the the death of George Floyd in Minneapolis. I'm sure she wasn't happy too when this year the D.C. budget got slashed, a $1.1 billion hole it took in March when the federal government funding bill forced it to return to a 2024 budget level. I did find this on homefacts.com, I think it is. It says here in 2023, both the violent and property crime rates in Washington, D.C. were higher than 50 state average, and you can see it's per 100,000 people. Yeah, violent crime rates. Yeah, I wouldn't go there and be a tourist when you see maps like this right here for crime incidents this year alone. Again, this here is for 2023, violent crimes against people per 100,000, 1,151, and then property crimes, burglaries, breaking into businesses, things like that, 4,307. Yeah, I was rather shocked to find out that New Mexico is actually higher. Actually, this is under USA Facts. In 2022, New Mexico recorded the nation's highest violent crime rates, while Washington, D.C. had the highest property crime rates. Maine had the lowest crime rates, and Idaho held the lowest property crime rates. Now, we do know that the FBI is not recording all the recent crimes for whatever reason, but here it says the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Program classified violent crimes as those involving force or threat of force. Violent crimes encompass 4 specific offenses: murder and non-negotiable manslaughter, rape, robbery, and aggravated assault. I think crime rate is up across many of the major cities. Yeah, think of New York, how bad it is in New York. Los Angeles. What city do you think has the highest crime rate next to there in New Mexico and Washington, D.C.? Put your thoughts down below. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe, and I do cover all kinds of different types of videos that might spark your interest. Thank you for watching. Always be prepared for disaster. Keep your head on a swivel, and I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.